Welcome to the wonderful world of dance, bringing you exclusive interviews with top dancers and choreographers and reviews of the world's best companies across the globe. You can find lots more on our website at thewonderfulworldofdance.com.
Hi, this is Savannah Saunders from The Wonderful World of Dance, and today I am so thrilled to introduce Berlin State Ballet's newest principal dancer, Cuban-born Prima Ballerina Yolanda Correa, whose last name I'm not going to be able to pronounce very well. Hi, Yolanda. So lovely.
Hello.
Please, correct my pronunciation of your last name for everyone.
No, please, it's great. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
It's so lovely. So you're basically in Berlin at the moment.
Yes.
Yeah, and you've just dashed back from the Berlin Opera House to your apartment.
Yes.
What are you rehearsing today, or what were you doing in the studio today?
Well, I was rehearsing Nutcracker because I'm performing Nutcracker here with Stats Ballet, but I'm also guesting with the Norwegian National Ballet in December. So my partner, Cuban dancer, arrived yesterday, and we've been using the studios because it's Sunday and studios are free. So we were doing a little bit of a Nutcracker today.
Oh, how wonderful. 'Tis the season for Nutcracker.
Yes,
all around the
Nutcracker
world.
pretty much everywhere.
Yeah. Well, who doesn't love a good Nutcracker? Absolutely. So you're from Cuba. Tell us about how old you were and when you got started dancing back in your home country.
I was 9 years old. That's actually the age where we start ballet in Cuba. And I think in the rest of the world it's more or less the same. I did a bit of gymnastic when I was 6 years old, and our coach, he spoke to my parents and he said that I could be a ballet dancer, and they thought, yes, why not? And I think I thought so too. When I joined the ballet school, I liked it very much from the beginning, and that was it.
Wow. So you took to ballet right away. So the ballet class, you enjoyed it immediately.
Yes, very much. Somehow, I don't know. I really like to be in the studio and to have all those big mirrors, so where we could just look at each other and I don't know, just move around and dance a little bit. Though it's, of course, in the beginning, it's so very slow, and it might seem boring, but it wasn't for me. So, yeah.
And tell us about, as you say, you're sort of dancing from the age of 9, or training from the age of 9. What does the training sort of journey look like for a Cuban dancer in terms of the schools that you go to and what happens?
Well, we had to start at 7:30 in the morning with a training, like a warm up with a physical trainer, like a personal trainer, something like that. Mm-hmm. And then we had the ballet class, and after that we had repertoire classes and folkloric also classes, and we had all the practices until 1, and then in the afternoon we had the normal school. And the good thing is that we had everything in one school, because in every city in Cuba, there's a school, like an art school with music, dancing, and all the arts. So we were all the students together in one school doing let's say the career we were starting already, and the normal school.
And how long did you train for before you joined the National Ballet of Cuba?
For 8 years. I did 5 years in my hometown, Holguín, and then I moved to the capital, to La Habana, with the National Ballet School for 3 years, and then to the national company.
And what was it like graduating into the National Ballet Company? It's quite a prestigious company obviously in your country. Must have felt very good.
Yes, it was, of course, a dream come true, because from the moment I saw the company, I wanted to be part of it. And I have to say, I didn't dream to be a principal dancer yet at the time. I just wanted to be there, to be part of that amazing company. So it was a big deal, yeah.
And you were promoted to principal dancer, is that right? Into sort of after 5 years in the company?
Yes.
And what was it like going from the corps de ballet through those 5 years to becoming a principal dancer?
I think it was really amazing. I learned so much because I did absolutely everything. I did the corps de ballet, then I was a soloist, and then first soloist, and then a principal dancer. So I went through every character, and that of course gave me the experience and the knowledge and the technique to become a principal dancer.
Yeah.
And when I got the rank, it was of course it was incredible. I felt honored to be a principal dancer with the National Ballet of Cuba. That was a big dream. Yeah.
But you didn't stay with the National Ballet of Cuba. You decided to move. Tell us about this decision in your life.
I danced there for 10 years. Mm-hmm. And after that, I felt I wanted to expand my career. I wanted to have more of an international career. And I wanted to dance other things, not just classical ballet. I wanted to do modern, contemporary, new classical ballet. I wanted to experience other choreographers and compare myself to another level, more of international level. And Europe always was my goal, like to be in a company in Europe. And so I took the decision to I don't like to say to leave Cuba or to leave the company, because I feel very much part of my country and the company. I'm still part of the company. And I sort of brought everything with me when I left, and I still have it with me wherever I go. I feel I'm always representing my country. But it was a good decision and the right decision, I think.
And which company did you join in Europe?
I worked with Víctor Ullate in Madrid for a few months, and that was actually a great transition because I did a lot of modern there, but it was very, very physical. So it helped me to break a bit the patterns from doing only classical ballet, and it was fantastic to work with him in the company. And then I went to the Norwegian National Ballet, where I had a dream career, I think. I got amazing opportunities to do like not just all the classicals, but a lot of all the choreographies, and to work with people like Killian and Forsyth, and I did Manon there and Onegin, and it was really, really amazing to be there and to work with so many ballet masters coming to guest in our company, and the people there, fantastic people, and the audience in the opera house in Oslo is one of the best modern opera houses in the world. And after 7 years, I thought again, I wanted a change. And then I applied to the company here in Berlin. I was looking for other challenges. I wanted to feel that pressure and more competition in a good way, and just learn much more than I had learned for the past years. It's like it's never enough.
So how long have you been with the Berlin State Ballet now?
3 months.
3 months. And the pressure, it's really interesting to hear you say that you're craving this additional pressure and these additional challenges at this point in your career. You certainly don't seem like someone who's going to take a step back and think, oh, I'm principal dancer for many years and I can just relax now. Have you found that pressure and that challenge over the last 3 months?
Yes, very. From the very first day, I could see that the company has a very good level, very high level. Also to be in the studio together with dancers like Yana Salenko and Paulina and Maria, people that I actually knew. It's funny because I know most of them from guesting all over the world. So I was so scared, but then when I saw them, we were just like talking like we usually do. Yet it's not the same when you join a company and you are there every single day. So I was scared very much, especially because you don't want to disappoint people. You join a company as a principal dancer, you have to deliver. But I've been also inspired from day one working with these dancers, and because they're not just amazing dancers, they're hard workers, so professionals and great people. The atmosphere in this company is fantastic. Everyone is always working. But they demand a lot more, of course, because in order to have that level, you need that work. You need to aim for that quality. And working with ballet masters, like there's one ballet master here that I love, Christine Camilo. She is like a sculpture. She is like with the leader with the tools, like shaping you, and that kind of work I'm very much happy to have here in the company. And also with the director, Johannes, who has brought so many great dancers into this company. It's so new and inspiring and challenging, and yeah, I'm really happy, very happy. But I was freaking out. Like the first week, I was very, very scared.
Yes, I could imagine what that must be like standing behind, some of those amazing dancers you've mentioned. But they are just such lovely people, aren't they?
Yes, very.
So you mentioned that you're rehearsing the Nutcracker at the moment. But what other ballets do you know what ballets are on the horizon for you? What roles that you've got coming up over the next season or the rest of this season?
I am very, very happy to do Juliet, Cranko's Romeo and Juliet, because I've never done it. And we've been actually waiting, all the dancers, for the cast list to come out. And 2 days ago, the paper was on the wall. And I don't know, I had this sensation. I wanted to look, but I didn't want to. And I'm so sorry. I'm like,
no, it's lovely,
And then I was like searching for Juliet, and I saw my name, and I felt so happy, so happy to be part of the cast, and I am so excited to do this ballet. And yes, like to work with people like Reed Anderson, whom I've worked before. I can't wait to have this experience. And there's a program that I really like where I'm doing theme and variations from George Balanchine and second detail from Forsyth. And I am so excited. I think that combination is just incredible. And yes, I'm very, very happy.
That sounds like an amazing sort of immediate future to look forward to. I can see why you're so excited. Absolutely. And in that excitement, what you mentioned, love being in the studio, but also these roles. What is it about dance that you love the most? Why do you dance?
I think it's this freedom you feel on stage. Of course, there's a pressure, and you want to do your job as good as possible. But it's the freedom of being on stage and owning the stage. And I think it's fantastic that we get to interpret characters, and one day you're Juliet and another day you're Odette Odile, and you fall in love on stage. And I know it might sound tacky, but actually I don't know, these romantic scenes I really love, because I'm very romantic, and it's to be on stage with this beautiful music and the challenges of a difficult variation, and what you feel when you have gone through a whole ballet, and I don't know, this feeling that you have given your soul and just left your heart on stage, and then to receive the applause from the audience, and it's the whole thing. I think I don't know, I can't compare to any other feeling. It's overwhelming and beautiful and breathtaking, and
Yeah, and you mentioned a couple of amazing roles there, of course. Do you have a favorite role and why?
I think it's hard to decide which one, but I love Giselle, and I feel very a special connection with that ballet because of what it represents. Also in Cuba, when you got an opportunity to do Giselle, it meant that it was your step to become a prima ballerina. And we always had these images from our director, Alicia Alonso, and we learned so much from her. And I think it's like a gem of the romantic period of a romantic classical ballet. And I love this story. I think it's a beautiful story. I love the style and the music. Yes, I think I could say that's my favorite one.
And how do you prepare for your roles? Do you have a certain process that you go through each time, or how do you approach the roles?
I think first you should know very well the story, and if there's a book or a novel or something, that you should read it and analyze it, because of course that gives you a lot of knowledge, and it's something that all dancers, it's a homework that we should do. And it's very much what you achieve in the studio together with your ballet master. And it becomes a very beautiful work between two people trying to get the right expressions and the right technique together with the artistic side. So it's a beautiful process. Actually, sometimes I enjoy a lot more this everyday work in the studio together with the ballet master. It almost becomes your family because it's so intense. So I think that it's very important to have a good coach and to trust it, to be open-minded and open-hearted.
And do you find it difficult? I mean, you seem to have this real love of the studio and the time in the studio that you have. But do you ever find it difficult, sort of every day going in, doing your class, all the rehearsals? No?
No. I love to be in the studio, and I don't know, sometimes people say, oh, Yoli, because they call me Yoli, it's like my little name. Yoli, she's crazy. She's always there. But I truly, truly love to be in the studio. I think I love ballet class because it's the easiest way to be in shape. Sometimes I think it's a luxury. You go into the studio and there's someone giving you the steps and a pianist. You don't have to think about anything else but doing the work. And you have someone taking care of your work because it's correcting you. So I think it's fantastic. I think it's fun. I love being in the studio, in the class, and turns and jumps and difficult combinations, and to be just part of the whole group, the whole ensemble. I think I find it really fun. Of course, I have days when I'm tired and I might feel a little bit lazy, but still, I always go to ballet class. I'd rather be in the studio with people than being alone doing my own thing or just in the gym. I don't like that. I also don't believe that there's anything else better than the ballet class to keep a dancer in shape. And rehearsals, I love rehearsing. I love the process of any ballet or creation. And I mean, I don't know, dancing, I always say ballet is the love of my life. And I love working. I think I also have a lot of energy.
Yes.
Too much maybe sometimes, so my body doesn't follow. And I just don't want to stop. And of course I have to because I'm exhausted and I have pain. But yes, I truly love it to be in the studio.
And how do you deal with the pain? I saw on your Instagram a photo of your feet taped up, which I know people are fascinated with, of course, because mostly the audience gets to see is this perfection in terms of the performance, this moment, but they don't, well, more now with social media, but they don't normally get to see what all the hard work behind the scenes. So tell us about the sort of pain and this foot photo.
Yes, I think we have a great tolerance, and of course we can deal with a lot of pain because since we are very little, we have to. And I think the worst is, of course, the injuries, more than blisters or soft corners, which are pretty bad. But it's the injuries, and I've had quite many. I have to say, sometimes I don't take care of my body as I should. I've learned a bit late to do that. And the thing about me and pain is that usually I don't stop, even if I have pain. It's just this, in the back of your head that you just don't want to be off. And then you say, okay, maybe I'm injured, but maybe it's just pain. Maybe it's not so dangerous for the injury. So you do learn, you teach yourself to deal with pain because you just don't want to be off. You want to keep working. And we develop this ability. It's a training. We have to trick our brains and we get used to. And of course, the adrenaline helps. Like when you're on stage, you don't feel much of the pain. Sometimes you don't feel it at all because you're just busy with everything else. And yeah, pretty much the adrenaline, that's the...
And have the injuries that you had kept you away from performing for very long? Have they been long injuries or more sort of short?
I've had 2 bad injuries in my life, being for 3 months with crashes. But most of the time I've managed to stay on. Of course, I've had to, I needed good doctors, and I had to do a lot of exercises in order to keep my body strong and train all the muscles to compensate a little bit. So yes, most of the time I've managed to stay on the game.
And how have you dealt with those 3 months that you were on crutches, considering how much you love being in the studio and it's Sunday and you're there today? How did you deal with that?
It's, of course, it's very depressing, of course.
I can imagine.
And we are so pessimist, and we are a bit too dramatic sometimes, no, dancers, and we think that we will never dance again and it's all over. So it was terrible for me to be off, but I did learn a lot about my body and injuries and how to take care of my body in order to avoid injuries or to deal with injuries that I already had. And I tried to learn all the things. I spent my time reading much more, and I just wanted to learn. I was then craving for all the things. Because I needed to use my time. I had so much energy, I didn't know what to do with it. So I tried to get knowledge and to just learn about anything I could learn. And that helped me very much. Also, I spent more time with my family, with mom and dad. And that was really good for me to be with my family and to spend quality time with them.
And how do you said you've come late to looking after your body. How do you take care of your body now, and I guess your body, mind and spirit? How do you what have you learned?
Well, when I was in Cuba, I worked with an amazing physiotherapist and personal trainer. We started every day at 6 a.m. I know this sounds also a bit... we started at 6 a.m. every day with a great plan of exercises to take care of everything, to keep the body strong. So I got used to this. And when I left Cuba, I tried to do it on my own. So I wake up every day at 5:30 in the morning.
You do?
Yes, and I do.
Wow.
And I start sometimes 6:30, and I do a routine of exercises before I start the ballet class, and that's been really good for me to not just avoid injuries, but to deal with the ones I have already. And I feel I can start my day much better, and I can yes, like I'm ready to start the day, and I feel I can take a lot more of work when I do this. But also I've had to learn to rest because I'm always restless, and even on Sundays I always like to work even on Sundays, so I try not to work on Sundays, and maybe I do just a little bit in order to keep my body moving and this circulation going. But I do try to rest at least one day a week and do other activities, relax and read, and especially to read, because I think that's so important for anyone. And my mom, she always she tells me this constantly. It is important to get knowledge and to learn and to be ready for one day you will not be able to dance anymore, and you have to be ready for that, and you have to be prepared to do something else. So I try to do the things. Also, I like music very, very much, and I love singing. So I started to take some singing lessons since last year on Sundays. So I try to, I like to do that sometimes.
And what sort of singing do you do? What sort of style of music?
I love musicals.
Oh, really?
Yes. So we do a bit of training to train my voice a little, and and then we try a few songs. Nothing. I mean, I'm not trying to become a professional, but I will say that my dream is to be in a musical one day, like to have the opportunity to be in a musical, even if it's in the back, like in the choir or something. Just to be on stage singing, I can imagine that would be such an amazing experience too.
Could you imagine that maybe once your Prima Ballerina principal dancer days on stage are closing, that maybe the musical door will open for you? Is that something you could transition into in the future? Is that possible?
I mean, I don't know, but I would love to. I would love to be on stage acting and singing. I don't know, it sounds really cool.
Yeah, it does. And have you're obviously taking your mother's words of advice and learning a lot and thinking and preparing for life after the stage. You clearly have many years left in you yet. But, aside from the musical, dreams that you have, which I'm sure will come to fruition, no doubt. But what else are you thinking about for the rest of your future, if you are?
Well, I've dared to dream with becoming a company director.
Fantastic. Need more female company directors.
I don't know where that came from. I actually don't know, but it sort of started to, come the thought. And I do like coaching very much. I love working with professionals and being in the studio and just giving what I've learned. And I like also to work with students, to teach. I like that very, very much. Of course, I think I have to be better. I have to learn a lot more, especially when working with students, you need to have methods and you need to know a bit of psychology and how to approach, because, students, it's not the same, like with professionals. You have to have certain way to make them understand that you just want the good for them and not for yourself, and to push them, but with love at the same time, not to be too harsh, but then that you need discipline. And yes, I would love to experience all this, which I have already. I think that's why I know that I like it. But I don't know, I had this thought, this idea of being a director, company director.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely fantastic aspiration to have, and it would be so wonderful to see that in the future. That's absolutely wonderful. And you mentioned this getting up at 5:30 in the morning business, which for me is quite shocking, particularly as dancers' days are quite notoriously long. Tell us about your typical day. If you're starting at 5:30 and not finishing performances until well into the night, tell us how that works.
Well, when I'm performing, I don't wake up so early, because after the shows it's so hard to sleep. You still have the adrenaline very, very high, and then you're thinking and you're going through the whole show and what you did wrong or right, or it's a lot going on in your mind. So I fall asleep at 2 in the morning, and then I don't wake up at 5, because I do need to rest. And the everyday, I go to bed at 9:30. I'm already like under the covers. I do need to go to bed early, because otherwise I don't think I could. If I go to bed very late, it is hard for me to wake up that early.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I need to sleep. I need to have at least 8 hours.
Yeah.
Sleep. Yeah.
Absolutely. And, you're 18 years into your ballet career. And I'm just wondering, do you look back and think, these are some really special moments that you've had in your career? Do you have sort of highlights that you think about?
I do. Like when I did Giselle for the first time. First of all, it was a surprise when I knew I was going to do Giselle, because I was very much sure that when the Giselle season came along, I thought, no, I think I'm not ready. I don't think I would get the opportunity, and yet I did. And I was so like emotionally very, I was shocked very much. And I had a beautiful process, because I had 4 ballet masters working with me in the studio, especially for the mat scene and to work in the whole character. And I learned so much with them, and to perform this ballet, it was a big, big thing for me in Cuba. And also when I came back from this injury, from being on crutches and not dancing, I did my first Sleeping Beauty. So after, it was actually, the whole thing was 6 months, because I was with the injury, and then the whole recovery took time. So my first production was Sleeping Beauty. And I remember this feeling of coming back and being on stage and doing something like Sleeping Beauty, doing Aurora on stage. I remember being completely different as a dancer, because for me it was so terrible to be out of stage, that I don't know, I came back with different energies and more brave, and I dared to just go and live the moment without getting nervous, without thinking about anything else, but being just grateful for being on stage again. And yes, that was a moment of great happiness for me. And I don't know, it's hard to I think we dancers, we have so many great moments on stage and also bad moments on stage, which makes the good moments even better.
What sort of bad moments have you had on stage?
You know, when you go and everything just goes wrong and you make mistakes, and because we are very hard with ourselves, we don't accept mistake. It's like it's so hard for us to deal with that, and we always, you know, like punishing ourselves. So yes, I've done what we say bad performances, that maybe like the ballet master, they would say, no, it was not a bad performance. It was, you made mistakes because you're human. And that's what makes things even better sometimes, because you learn, or because you maybe the first part of the variation didn't go right, but then you know, you get some kind of strength together with adrenaline, and then you overcome the mistakes. So yes, I don't know, I've had what I say bad moments when the variation or the steps didn't go as I wanted, and it's hard for me to sleep.
Is it?
Because then I don't know, I feel really bad. I feel almost amateur sometimes when I make mistakes on stage, and I always feel this cannot happen again, though it could, of course. But you do learn very much, and you for sure learn much more from mistakes than from great performances. So it is important, I think, to mistakes.
And I'm sure the audience didn't even notice these bad moments.
We hope.
I'm sure to the audience your variations looked perfection. I'm absolutely sure. So who inspires you in your life? Who are your role models?
My mother.
Yeah.
And my father. I think, because I think I've got the passion from my dad, because he, as a full-time professional worker, though he's retired, he's still working, and he's a little bit old, yet he never says, I'm tired. And he has a lot of passion for his work, and he's a great professional. And I think I got some of that. And from my mother, she has this sense of duty that I also have, and discipline, and I think, yeah, I learned very much growing up with my mom and dad, and I don't know, I think a lot about them when I'm working, and when I have good days and bad days, and I want them to be proud, of course, of what I've done, but I don't know, sometimes I want to be more like them, and yes, I think they are my heroes, I could say.
I'm sure they're proud of you, my goodness. So lovely to hear that your heroes are your lovely mum and dad. They will be so pleased to hear that, I'm sure. So sweet.
And of course, a lot of people inspire me every day. Like my best friend, Andreas Heise, he's a German choreographer, and he's been my family, and we've been friends for a very long time, and it's someone I look up to very much, because he's been always working very hard. Is someone who always thought that we have to do things right, and it is important, knowledge and quality, and to be good people and to help others. And I don't know, I always thought that he was always my best friend and my psychologist, because he's been helping me since we have met, and it's a great example of hard work as well. I'm very fortunate to have him in my life. I love my little brother. And I always say, if the world had more people like you, it would be a better world, because I've never met someone so honest like this boy, or a man. He's not a boy anymore, but I still, such a, I don't know, I think he's a pure soul, and so simple and so, just honest and pure. One of those people who are very happy with nothing, and they always ask for nothing, but they give it all. I don't know. I think my family and my friends are very much very, very important in my life. And a lot of what I do every day, I do it, of course, for myself, because I love what I do. But it's, I don't know, I feel I want to earn their love and their respect, because, I don't know, they're incredible people. And there's one person in my life that it's my boyfriend. He, it's been hard for us, because he's Norwegian, so he's in Norway, and we miss each other very much. But I find him very, very inspiring, and the things I've learned with him. He directs a company of designers and architects, and he always says to me, "Stay real." And this is something that I think is very true. It's a man I love very much, and who loves me deeply, and I'm very, very lucky to have in my life, who's been supporting me from the beginning, who understood very much when I told him I want to change, I want to go to another company, I'm moving to Berlin. And though it's been hard for us, he's been always there for me, traveling to see me perform and coming to see my premieres, and so proud of this ballerina. And I always think about him when he says to me, "Stay real, be yourself, with all your things, and with all the love you have for your work." And I don't know, to hear him say, "I'm proud of you," and yes, I think family, friends, and the love of my life, these people, they mean a lot to me, very, very much.
Particularly as you're away from home, and you've been away from home for like 10 years now, and it's lovely to hear that actually it's your family and those friends and the love of your life who help you, sort of enable you to be this amazing ballerina, while they're in different locations to you.
Yes.
Yeah. So I want to ask, with all of the lovely things that you've said about wanting to live up to the expectations of those that you hold in high esteem, there would be many, many, many dancers looking to you at your career and being inspired by your journey. What advice would you have for other aspiring dancers, either from Cuba or generally, who are thinking that they would love to have a career like yours?
I think it is the studio what makes a dancer. And nowadays there's a lot of new theories and ways, and I don't know, we have so many things we could do for our bodies, and there's a lot of alternatives. But I think, yes, that's great, you can do that, but always as something extra. But never instead a ballet class, never instead of practicing and being in the studio, because it is to be in the studio. And to dedicate all those hours in the studio to do ballet class every single day from the beginning till the end. Even if you're very, very tired, always ballet class. And maybe one day you will not be able to work 100%, of course, but still it's always better to do your ballet class, even if it's 50-60%, than not doing it. And lots of practice and lots of extra in the studio. The gym is fantastic, and all the Pilates, gyrotonics, and all that yoga, modern classes, that's fantastic. But never instead ballet class, and never instead of being in the studio and dedicating time to achieve steps and to get that quality. In order to get that quality, you need to be in the studio.
Oh, Yolanda, that is such wonderful advice, and I am so looking forward to seeing your journey with the Berlin State Ballet as their new principal dancer, and in the future maybe seeing you in a musical and running a company, which would be amazing. With your energy and your positivity, I can see you doing all of those things without doubt. So for listeners of the podcast show and those watching the video, make sure you follow Yolanda and her journey on Instagram, which is at YOMA_CORREA. And if you're lucky enough to live in Germany, and you can see this amazing company and Yolanda in your home city or in Berlin, go to their website and check out all of the performances that are coming up. The Nutcracker coming up at Juliet, which would be absolutely amazing, and the other pieces. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me.
Don't forget to subscribe. We've got some incredible interviews coming up with principal ballerinas and renowned choreographers. We love dance and ballet, and we hope you'll love us. Join us on Facebook and Twitter.